Israel's intelligence agencies, famous for being the long arm of the State of Israel and feared by its enemies, working in the shadows deep behind enemy lines. 3 former Israeli intelligence chiefs agreed to discuss the methods used by the agencies to fight Israel's enemies. Israeli intelligence gathering in Syria. The 2 countries are technically still at war, and now that Iran and Hezbollah are operating freely in large parts of Syria, Israel has all the more reason to be worried. And these days, after 8 years of war, reality on the ground has changed dramatically.
Generally speaking, the fact that there are so many factors acting in Syria in one way makes it easier to understand what is going on. I think the control of the skies should make it not easier, but should make it more challenging and in the end more productive.
Former head of the Mossad, Jotam, shares Haledi's views, but there are still major obstacles for Israeli intelligence inside Syria.
It is much less difficult to collect information about Syria itself. Syria is not the main challenge. The main challenge is Iran.
But it's not only the Iranians that worry Jotam.
Of course, Hezbollah. We have to gather a lot of information about Hezbollah. Hezbollah is connected very intimately to the regime in Syria.
So what are the challenges when the Mossad recruits agents in an enemy country?
You have to persuade this person to betray his country and to work for not necessarily Israel, because usually we don't say we are Israelis, but for any other entity. But still, it is a betrayal.
And while human intelligence is still important, the Mossad is far better equipped today.
During those years, a lot have happened in some other technological means. There are slices of information that we can collect today that we could not do it 20 years ago.
Jotam headed the Mossad when Bashar al-Assad's father, Hafez, ruled Syria with an iron fist, and the spy agency was there.
Yes, we succeeded. We succeeded to recruit agents that gave us, conveyed to us a lot of information, including high-ranking officials.
But today, both the Israeli Prime Minister and the head of the Mossad say that Iran is the biggest threat to Israel's security, not Assad. Not everyone shares that assessment.
What if I have the Iranians on my border? We are not going to be involved between Israel and Iran because of an Iranian presence on the Syrian border.
But it's not only the current Israeli administration that is focusing on Iran. The Islamic Republic has been a top priority for Israel for decades.
I served under 3 prime ministers. Mr. Netanyahu, who appointed me, Mr. Barak, who continued to keep me on the job, and Mr. Sharon. All 3 of them viewed Iran as the #1 issue. I personally devoted more than 50% of my time on Iran when I was head of Mossad.